Mr. Secretary, I want to talk about the proposed Golden Dome missile defense system. There's a request to spend $25 billion in this year alone. First of all, is this system designed to intercept a full salvo attack?
Senator, it's a multi-layer system that would include different types of salvos. Obviously,
so it's not just Rogue Nation. Okay.
Well, it's meant to. Yes, it's not meant to be just one nation. It could be utilized in
against Russia
scenarios.
or China, full salvo. So, what kind of reliability are you aiming to build into the system? Are we looking for something like 4 nines on intercept success? 99.99% reliability.
Obviously, you seek the highest possible. You begin with what you have and integrating those C2 networks and sensors, building up capabilities that are existing with an eye toward future capabilities that can come online as quickly as possible, not just ground-based, but space-based.
So against future capability too. So do you believe that we can build a system that can intercept all incoming threats? You think we could build that system? This is a very hard physics problem.
You would know as well as anybody, sir, how difficult this problem is, and that's why we put our best people on it. We think the American people deserve it.
So let me tell you what I think we're facing here. You're talking about hundreds of ICBMs launched simultaneously, varying trajectories, MIRVs, so multiple reentry vehicles, thousands of decoys, hypersonic glide vehicles, all at once. And considering what the future threat might be, it might even be more complicated than that. And you're proposing spending not just $25 billion, but upwards of, I think CBO estimated this at least $500 billion, other estimates $1 trillion. I am all for having a system that would work. I am not sure that the physics can get there on this. It's incredibly complicated.
And here's the part most people overlook. This debate isn't just about missiles or budgets. It's about whether we're building real security or buying an illusion. Because if the physics don't work, if the testing teams are gutted, and if the oversight is weakened, then this entire project could become the most expensive, false sense of safety in American history. The question isn't just, can we build it? It's what happens if we bet everything on something that can't work? That's where this hearing takes a sharp turn. Let's get into it.
So I want to get to another issue that you're facing here. How much of the staff of the Office of the Director of Operational Test and Evaluation did you cut?
After collaboration, sir, with the service departments, the Joint Staff, and others, we identified that as a place where there were redundancies and multiple additional layers that were unnecessary.
I'll tell you what you cut. You cut
so
74%.
Most of it. That's what I was going to say.
Most of it. And was your decision to cut more than half of the Pentagon's testing and evaluation office staff driven in part by concerns about the office's plan to oversee testing of Golden Dome?
The concerns were not specific to Golden Dome, sir. It was years and years of delays unnecessarily based on redundancies in the decision-making process that the services, COCOMs, and the Joint Staff, together with OSD, identified as a logjam that was not helping the process.
To get the reliability we would need, you need something that's at 4 nines, 99.99% reliability with all these challenges. And you cut the staff of the people who are going to make sure this thing works before we make it operational, before we give it to the warfighters. You got to go back and take a look at this. But I also strongly encourage you to put together before we spend $25 billion or $175 billion or $563 billion or $1 trillion, put together a group of people to figure out if the physics will work. You could go down a road here and spend hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of the taxpayer money, get to the end, and we have a system that is not functional. That very well could happen. And you're doing this just because the president, and I understand your role as a Secretary of Defense. You got to execute what the president says. But this idea, might not be fully baked. And you can get in front of it now and figure out and find out if you put the right physicists on this. And I'm not saying go to the big defense contractors. I'm going to scientists. And I know there's a questionable relationship with this administration and scientists, but go to some scientists, figure out what we would have to do to build a system, and then make smart decisions before we spend hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars.
Senator, we're doing that, leveraging existing technologies and not premising the project on aspirational technologies, what we can actually do, and would
Well,
welcome your input.
$25 billion
Thank you.
in the first year is a lot of money. That's more than just figuring out if we have the ability to build a system that can handle a full salvo threat, hypersonic glide vehicles, MERS, thousands of decoys. Thank you.
What you just watched wasn't simply a tense exchange over a defense program. It was one of the rare moments in Washington where someone with deep technical knowledge cuts through political talking points and forces a reality check. Senator Mark Kelly, a former astronaut, engineer, and Navy combat pilot, wasn't speaking as a politician today. He was speaking as someone who understands physics, missile trajectories, and the brutal math behind missile defense. And that's exactly why this exchange matters. When Kelly pressed Secretary Hegseth on whether the proposed Golden Dome system could intercept a full salvo ICBM barrage, he wasn't asking a hypothetical. He was asking the question at the heart of the entire project: can this system actually work? And almost immediately, you could see the tension. Hegseth attempted broad answers about multi-layered defense, future integration, sensors, command and control networks, but Kelly wouldn't let him hide behind buzzwords. He asked for something concrete, reliability, and that's where the conversation turned. Because missile defense at this scale isn't just a matter of building something big enough or expensive enough, it's a matter of building something that works nearly flawlessly. Kelly is talking about 99.99% success, 4 nines, meaning every single incoming warhead, every decoy, every glide vehicle, every unpredictable maneuver has to be hit. In the real world of physics, thermodynamics, guidance errors, atmospheric drag, and adversary countermeasures, that kind of perfection is almost impossible. Kelly puts that plainly. This is a very hard physics problem. But the key moment was when Kelly laid out the actual threat environment the Golden Dome claims to defend against. Hundreds of ICBMs launched simultaneously, multiple warheads inside each missile, hypersonic glide vehicles traveling Mach 5 or faster, maneuvering unpredictably, thousands of decoys designed to look identical to real warheads until the final seconds of flight, a chaotic, mathematically overwhelming barrage happening at once. This isn't just difficult, it's beyond challenging. It is the kind of scenario that missile defense experts have debated for decades, and most of them agree with Kelly. Physics simply may not allow you to build a system that can intercept everything coming at you. And that's where this becomes more than a technical discussion, because the price tag isn't small. Kelly cites $25 billion for the first year alone. The Congressional Budget Office suggests the total could hit $500 billion. Other estimates go as high as $1 trillion. These are astronomical sums being proposed for a system that, by Kelly's own assessment, may be impossible to build. And that's not partisan speculation. That's a scientific limitation. Then Kelly hits Hegseth with something even more damning. The administration cut most of the staff from the Pentagon's Testing and Evaluation Office. These are the people responsible for proving whether a system like Golden Dome actually works before it gets deployed, before it's handed to soldiers, before the country bets its survival on it. And Hegseth admits those cuts happened, even if he insists it wasn't tied to Golden Dome specifically. But Kelly connects the dots. Why are you slashing the capacity of the very office that would test the system you're proposing to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on? That's the core of Kelly's argument. Before spending staggering amounts of taxpayer money, before buying into a system that sounds good on paper but may be impossible in reality, you need to consult actual physicists, not corporate defense contractors, not political appointees, scientists, experts, people capable of telling you the truth, even when the truth is inconvenient. And Kelly makes it clear he doesn't believe that diligence is happening. He says, bluntly, the administration may be pushing forward because it's politically attractive, not scientifically sound. And that's what makes this hearing important. It's not about Democrats versus Republicans. It's not about personalities. It's about something fundamental. Are we investing in real defense, or are we investing in the idea of defense? Are we building something that will actually work when it matters, or are we chasing an expensive fantasy that collapses the moment it's tested? Kelly's critique forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. If an adversary launches a full salvo nuclear attack, no missile shield in human history has ever proven capable of stopping it. Not ours, not Russia's, not Israel's, not China's. The physics today simply don't allow it. And yet, the administration is asking Americans to fund a system that may never work, while cutting the very oversight office meant to validate its performance. Kelly isn't opposing the idea of missile defense. He's opposing blind optimism. He's opposing throwing trillions of dollars into a project without first proving that science is on our side. And he's demanding rigor, honesty, and evidence before politics or pressure take over. This moment is what congressional oversight looks like when done right, when someone with expertise pushes past slogans and demands proof. It's a reminder that governing isn't about ambition alone. It's about accountability, technical truth, and protecting the American people with systems that work, not systems that sound impressive in a press release. And that's why this hearing matters. It isn't just about missiles. It's about whether we still value science, whether we still budget responsibly, whether we still test before we deploy, and whether we still demand that the truth, not wishful thinking, guides decisions that could determine national survival. Because at the end of the day, as Kelly said, this isn't a political debate. This is physics, and physics doesn't care what anyone in Washington believes. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more clear and in-depth analysis, and share this with someone who needs to understand what's really at stake in these hearings.